Hi, everybody. Sharona here. Happy New Year and welcome to Conversations with Sharona and Claudette. I'm Sharona and there is Claudette.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. Really happy to be here with you, Sharona, starting a new year.
And
Yay!
yay! And 2016. I don't know about you, but I'm still stuck in 1999. So I'm just going to say that right there. I'm just putting that out there. Um, and it was interesting. I was at just a little side note. I was at a grocery store yesterday, and in the checkout, uh, they were talking about babies born from 2000 on, and how they don't know the last century or the 80s or the. And I'm thinking, and they were concerned of how the children will turn out, and I go, hey, look at us, we did okay.
We had no technology. We had none of we're fine. We're okay.
We're okay.
We'll figure it out,
We'll
right?
figure it out. It's like, yeah, I used to run barefoot and drink from water hoses. Who does that now? Nobody.
No, because everything is going to be like, oh my God, you're going to get sick. You're going to die. You're going to have these diseases. Oh gosh. Let's
No.
not worry about something we don't know, right?
Right. So with that in mind, let us talk about something that so let's just I know what I'll do. I'm Sharona. I'm a transition and transformational specialist, and I work with midlife women who are struggling or feeling frustrated with change and support them as they make that transition and transformation into the next part of their life, the next journey that they're going to go on. And my website is found at dancingwithchange to thrive.com. And Claudette, how about a little bit of what you do or who you are?
Who I am. Wow. Thanks, Sharona. So I'm Claudette Chenevert, and I'm known as the Stepmom Coach. So I work with stepmoms who are finding themselves wondering how to navigate and merge themselves into a ready-made family. And, if you've ever been in a relationship with someone who had kids before, you may realize that it's not the same as the first time or what we call the nuclear family. So I really help you to navigate and make those decisions and help you to, feel a little bit more confident and secure in that relationship that sometimes feels really challenging. And you can find me at my website, which is stepmomcoach.com.
And Claudette, today we're going to, being that this is the start of a new year, and I know that when I work with especially midlife women, and I'm sure with stepmoms, that a lot of times it feels like they're either over planning or under planning or not knowing how to plan and scheduling and calendars, and there's probably a bazillion different calendars they're using. So I thought today we could talk a little bit about the art of planning and organizing that works for the individual.
Yes.
And whatever family situation that they have. So I just should let you know that I'm one of those. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about, there's different types of organization and planning, and people have a different way of doing it. And I'm one of those people that I know there are people who like to make lists and check things off and get very, very detailed in their organization. I prefer to use a list as a guideline. So that way I know what I need to focus on and then schedule it in a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that works for me. But when I try to get down into the minutia details of what I'm doing every second, and I know people that can do that, I envy them. I makes my brain explode. So what about you? How do you like to organize or plan?
So I like what you said. We all have our ways of organizing, and I'm a pen and paper person. You'll notice I have my pen and paper as we're speaking, so I can take notes as we're talking. Obviously, this also shows our age or our transition. As you were talking before, 2000 and more, our kids were born with cell phones and smartphones, and so I use a combination of both. I love to write on a piece of paper things that I would love to do, whether they're for today, in the month, and throughout the year. And I also use my phone. We have an app, my husband and I both share, that we share a list, so that things that we want to have done, they're there. And then, we have Google Calendar that I use as a list, a planning tool. And one of the things that my husband and I have been doing for the last 25 years is on January, whether it's a Christmas or between Christmas and New Year's or New Year's Day, we sit down and make a list of all the things we want to do. And we start by planning our vacations. And a lot of people think that, like, why would you want to plan vacations first? Well, having come in a family where, in a relationship where my husband had his kids, I had my kids, we both worked full time, and we realized if you don't plan vacations or holidays or whatever, you're not going to have them. Mm-hmm. So it comes down to talking about priorities. What is a priority for you in your life that you feel needs to get done, that if you don't plan on it or organize around it, you feel like you'll miss out?
Claudette, thank you. That's so true. I think a lot of times, especially for women, a lot of times we put our priorities for ourselves on the back burner. We're making sure we're taking care of everybody else's needs, and we don't plan. And then all of a sudden the day is gone and it's going, I didn't get anything I needed to get done. So one of the things, here's the thing I've always realized is that we all have the exact same amount of time in a day. Yeah. We all do. Nobody has any more or any less. But I like to use it in a way that I call your energy. What are your peak and valley energies? And we all have different rhythms. So for instance, I know that I'm a person that needs a little bit of time to get my day started. I can't just jump out of bed and rush around, and I have to gradually lead into my day. So for me, I created that the morning time for me is I get up, I take care of the critters, I then do my morning exercise, but I plan that. And then I always know how much time that is. That is always on my calendar. That is always something that needs to be done. I can't do exercise in the afternoon because the day just takes off. So know your energy. And the other thing is, whenever you have high energy or low energy, on those low energy, that's when you do the mundane stuff. That's when you make those, you're doing the everyday, whatever you need to do. So high energy times, I personally find that's where I have to do the work, whatever that work is. So when I'm having high energy, I don't plan being on Facebook. I don't plan on doing emails. That's the time of doing work. So each of us we need to know when our energy level is at the highest and at the lowest, and I don't even want to say steady, and plan around that. And I liked what you said also is setting the priorities. What needs to get done today? What needs to get done this week? What needs to get done, like paying bills.
Yeah.
Right? I know so there's a day of the week, every Sunday, that's when I get the bills paid for that week. I get all that taken care of. And one of the things that really helped me was doing things online. I find that it helps me organize what I need to do so that it gets done. Anyway, so those are just some thoughts that I had about, your energy, and then creating the calendar and the schedule and the planning around that.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying about energy. Like I'm very more spontaneous. It makes sense to work around energy, and I have a hard time personally doing this. So I'm really a spontaneous type of person where whatever the mood or the temperature looks like, that's how I function. But then I also know with my list, if I feel like I have more energy when I get up, because for me, it really depends on how well I slept the night before. Being a midlife person, a midlife woman, we have our ups and downs.
Yes.
And so I go with the flow of my ups and downs. And I know I'm not the only one. As women, we have hormones that are driving us, that for some of us, it makes our peaks and lows, and it varies. And so, again, it makes sense what you said about, understanding when have high energy and when you have low energy. But, when you have kids, that's sort of like difficult, because I think when you have kids, the kids will determine for you your energy, whether you want to or not. They will dictate your schedule. So even if you are tired, you can't be tired and say, I won't take care of the kids. So, this is where, having structure and deciding what your day will look like will help. And having structure in your day-to-day activities also helps you to feel less stressed, less overwhelmed, and gives you the opportunity to ask for help. One of the things I realized over the years, and I see a lot of women doing this, and I'm sure with midlife women, they do the same thing, is they feel they have to do it all on their own, right?
Right.
They forget to ask for help. And so I think with the art of planning, if you look at any business, any successful person, any person that you see and look up to, one of the things you will notice, along with planning, is they never do everything on their own. They have a team. It could be a team of 1, it could be a team of 10. But they don't do things on their own. So part of the planning process, whatever you're planning for this year, this month, this week, think in terms of how can I delegate to others so that I'm not the one doing everything on my own, right?
I agree with that. One of the things is, I think, and you know what, and this is again depends on your family situation too. Think of yourself as the CEO or the president of the company, and your household is your company. I always say, when I used to work with women, and I still do with women, midlife women who are dealing with career change, and they say, well, I don't have any skills, or I go, running a household is the same as running a business. You have to do all the same kind of things. So think of your house as a household as a business. And of course, you're doing this age appropriately, but the children in your home can be delegated work too.
Of course.
A lot of times I've seen this a lot with women, is they're trying to do it everything, and they're doing it all, but their children can, or their teenagers, and can help with the household. And they can make their own, I'm not saying a 5-year-old, well, no, even a 5-year-old can make their own lunch.
Yes.
If you have it prepared, they can make their lunch, they can bag it up, they can get things ready, they can dress themselves, they can it might not be the outfit you want them to wear, but they can dress themselves. So again, I think that's yes, delegating, asking for help. We're not super women. We're not meant to do everything alone. We are innately, yes, we are the caregivers, but we need to take care of ourselves too in the formula of everything. And there is nothing wrong with asking for help. It's actually, a little secret. Asking for help is a sign of strength, because you know who you are, and you know what you need. And people really like to help each other
Yeah.
most of the
And
time.
I agree with you. One of the things I learned early on in my life was that when you're asking for help, you're actually giving the opportunity to the other person of giving you a gift or a service. So for those people who are afraid of asking, and thinking like, oh, I can't ask people to help me, like what will people think? If you just change that perspective from feeling like you're asking for yourself, instead think of it as you're giving the opportunity for someone else to be of service to you.
Mm-hmm.
When I thought of it that way, it felt less intimidating and less scary for me to ask for help.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Yeah.
It's you're giving the opportunity for someone else to render a service for you.
And I think too is I think a lot of times when we ask for help, we feel we're at a vulnerable place.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I like the fact that vulnerability it takes a lot of courage to say, you know what, I can't do this alone. I need a team. And I always find that I can create teams where, whatever I need in that, I need help.
Yeah.
And just saying, I need help, somebody will come. What can I do? What can I do? And sometimes I don't know what they can do, but I just say, I just need help. Just saying
Yeah.
that you'll be willing to help me is just great enough,
Yeah.
Um, and so so I like the idea of making a list and saying what needs to be done and then scheduling in, asking for help, delegating when you can. And I think one of the things too is as you're planning, one of the things that happens a lot is these weight loss New Year's resolution things. It drives me crazy because it never. Okay, and so the other thing too is whatever needs to get done, chunk it down into doable chunks of time and steps. So that way you're not overwhelmed. So by the time, so that way, it's like I always say, what is the minimum you're willing to do to feel like you've been successful at what you needed to do?
Yes.
So for some, like thinking, oh, I'm going to eat really healthy and drink only smoothies and well, and it doesn't work. So one little shift, one little change for that day. So for today, maybe you do 10 minutes of a workout, plus you get a healthy meal in, and plus you get the kids off to their after school programs because you did it in a way that you chunked it down to make it doable and real for you.
Yeah. I love you said chunk it down, because it's easy for women, I think, to be overwhelmed and look at everything. And again, if you write that list, it's easy to see if I can do one thing. One of the things I learned, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. It's called the Kazan way, where you do the smallest thing you can in a day, the smallest possible thing to create change. And for example, I just moved into a new place, and so it's sort of intimidating because I don't know anybody, and so I decided once a week minimum, I'm just gonna get dressed, go out, and take a walk around the block, and then come back in and just say hi to people. You know, I tend to enjoy being indoors and not go outdoors a lot. But I said to myself, if at least once a week I just get out and walk around the block, and it'll get me into the habit of meeting people. And that's the same, like when I think about, stepmoms who are dealing with their stepkids and they're finding, oh my God, I can't, they're here this weekend, especially if they come every other weekend, and they're thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're here every other weekend. I feel like I don't want to be here. So one of the things that, you could do is, take 5 minutes when they first come in and do a cookie and milk thing. You know, it'll make them feel good if they like cookies and milk, obviously, or whatever. And just do a 5-minute thing. It doesn't have to be the whole weekend. You know, find the smallest thing you can do to make a change towards what you want. And so, it could be something as just a smile, right?
Right.
Smiling makes everybody feel that much better. I love your smile, Sharona. Like, I talk about smile, you're smiling, right?
Right.
And it's contagious. And I'm sure anybody else who's watching the video, after I say smile, they're smiling. Just watch yourself. You're smiling.
Yeah.
You know, some very simple steps can lead to bigger changes along the way. It doesn't have to be humongous. Just chunk it down, make it small, and I think it's a nice way to progress throughout the year.
And you know what? I agree with that, because I want to dovetail on that. Is I one time heard to make whatever needs to get done, do 5 small things a day focused on that. So, you know, for a midlife woman who's saying, here I am, I'm dealing with the 3 a.m. insomnia. I don't know what I want to do next. So here's a small little thing. So the question is, what am I going to do next? I can't get that answer today all at one time. I have to go exploring. Be willing to take like a walk around the block and just smile and say hi to people, or go take a class. Just go explore a class that you've always been interested in. I'm not saying going to become a professional at it. Just take a class, because then you get to meet people. You get to hear other people's ideas, and there's something that happens because a lot of times, especially when we're going through change, internally, externally, we start to isolate ourselves, because we start questioning who we are. I'm sure stepmoms have that same thing. Oh, are they going to like me? Am I going to be appreciated? If I'm going to be heard? I don't know how to be a parent. I don't know, that whole, I don't know how to, I don't know what the, right? That whole, I don't know who I am. How do I know who they are? We terrorize ourselves. But the thing is, you do know somewhere who you are. What is happening is we're making a shift, we're changing, we're transforming, and now we get to explore how that's going to look in the world, how it's going to look inside. So the internal landscape is changing, the external landscape may be changing, but you need to find who you are within by exploring out in the world, and what gets you excited, what makes you angry, what pulls your heartstrings, what makes you cry, those kind of things. And you just keep one day, just ponder, dream. A lot of times we don't schedule me time in our calendar, times to relax, unplug, look at hummingbirds, look at a flower, or if you're in winter, go out and build a snow person, just silly time, me time, not doing laundry.
How about coloring? This is the big fad these years, right? This year. I mean, I've been coloring, doodling like forever, and now it seems like everybody's doodling. I have like probably 6 coloring books, which I love, and I'm so grateful. And so, just sitting there coloring, and it's a form of meditation, right? Whether it's giving your brain a rest so that your brain can process what it needs to process without you focusing on it all the time. And one of the great books I read a while back, it's called Blink from Malcolm Gladwell. I think that's who it is. And he talked about, how our brains function. And this is in neuroscience too. So it's just not him, but everybody else, is that when you let your brain rest and not process all the time, that's why sleep is so important, is that you get to connect all the dots inside your brain and you find the answers. So that's why sometimes when you're taking a shower, you're driving or walking around the block or doing something else, you get these aha moments and say, that's what I need to do. So as you're planning, don't think that you have to be planning every single thing. You gotta leave some space, some room for those aha moments. You know, every coach that I know of, every professional, whether it's an athlete, a coach, a teacher, whatever, they will tell you that although you need to have some planning, you don't necessarily have to know all the how to get there.
Right.
Just know that this is what you want. Because I think one of the things that is really important is the first thing in planning is know where you want to go. Where am I going? It's like, and we've heard this explanation before about the GPS. If you don't put a destination on your GPS, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to sit there in your car waiting for your GPS to tell you what to do. But you have to have a destination. You have to have a place to go to. And I think a lot of times in our lives, we have a vague idea, but if you don't have a specific or a clearer idea, maybe not pinpoint exactly specific, but at least a good direction, it helps to move forward towards what you really want in your life.
Yeah, and you know that was something that I learned this past year. This past year, my focus where I wanted to go was to get my life really as simplified as possible, and to do one task at a time. Because I'm also a very spontaneous person. And I get distracted by shiny things very quickly. So for me, it's like, oh, look, something's shining over there. I guess I'm part cat. But here's the thing. What I did is, as I simplified everything and got down to doing one focus at a time, I found that I actually got more done, what I needed to get to, and it did free up a lot of open space for me to process. And I think a lot of times when we overplan or over organize, and I liked how you said trying to figure out the how am I going to do it. We do not give the space for process. We don't allow us to just breathe into that moment, to allow whatever needs to come up and be ahad to happen. So so this year, as I'm gonna, so now I got that down to simplify and single tasking. Now this year is going to be about finding balance in my mind, balance in my heart, balance in my spirit. You know, finding the balance of what that means, like to live a balanced life. And so even though it feels vague, so for me, again, it's scheduling time and energy around what needs to get done now in this moment, so that I can move forward to what I need to get done. So for instance, working, I'm going to be doing a midlife women's reboot camp next week. So I realized that now I'm putting out my little, thing, what I call my little haikus. I like haikuing. Haikuing and dancing are my two favorite things. So I'm
Nice.
putting out my little haikus every day. And I realize that for me, I don't schedule an exact time when I'm writing the haiku because I got to let the haiku do its thing in my brain and my heart and my spirit. But what I do is I say, okay, by this time, and I have a time in the afternoon that I go, I'm going to upload this. And that's how so I know I need to get it done, but I'm not making it that it has to be done exactly at this time because I need that space of process.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, you're giving time for processing and giving yourself permission to be able to do what you need to do in order to move forward. Like for you last year was more about, simplifying. For me last year, my year was more about redefining who I was, who I am. It was a year of discovery for me because a lot of things changed in my life, in my relationship within my family, extended family. And so there was a lot of self-reflection for me. Where am I going? And so it's not an easy question. And so we're not suggesting, I don't think you and I are suggesting that people can break down, this is what I want and this is how I'm going to get it, right?
Right.
Because we ebb and flow. We it's like a river, on a lazy river, you're going in a lazy river, all of a sudden there's a rapid and it's like, oh my gosh, it's really bumpy. Am I going to fall over the edge? And then all of a sudden, oh, you fell off the edge, but you're back to a slow rocking lazy river again. And then, oh, some more waves. And so this is life. Life is like this. And so I think giving yourself space and permission for detours and taking a different fork in the road, and it's okay. And so, that's what I've been doing all last year. And this year, I want to have a little bit more direction. I haven't sat down yet to really look at what I want. One of the things I do know is, I'm writing more. I write for the Stepmom magazine on a monthly basis, and I'm enjoying this. I'm learning, the process of writing. I enjoy talking, so definitely, having our talks, our conversations on a weekly basis, whenever it works out for us, I think that's a great thing. So these are, I'm building on my strengths, the things that I know make me happy and make me more fulfilled. And I think that whenever we look at what we want in life, when we're thinking of our relationships, because there's different parts in our life. We have to think about our relationship to our family. If you're married with your partner, your spouse, if you have kids with your kids, but also about yourself. The relationship with me. Who am I to me? And then the relationship within my work, my community. We have different aspects of our lives that that need to merge together. We're not separate individuals living various lives. We're one person with different experiences, and so how can we all merge them? And I felt like for me last year there was some imbalance, and you talked about balance. So there was an imbalance in one aspect of my life, in regards to my extended, like my siblings and my mom, and so these are working through, and it's good. I mean, they're all good experiences helping me to grow as a person and understanding even more who I am. I don't think we ever stop growing and asking ourselves who we are. I think it's part of being a human being and growing. And writing, for me, writing is one of the things that helps me to uncover that and to express that. I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Hairball. I I too am not saying that we are saying that we're going to get the answer today. It's about a process of who we are, who am I, and I love that. Who am I to myself? Who am I in regards to all the areas of my life, but what's my relationship with myself? And, a lot of times, midlife women, we are asking that question, who am I? And who am I to other people? And who am I to my work? Who am I? What's my relation with my work, with finances, with my, if I have a spousal unit or, intimate friend or whatever. But it all starts here. And I agree. It's something that we keep asking, because who I am now is not the same person I was when I was in my 20s. It's not even the same person that I was last year. Right? Because I went through, these last few years have been a real challenge. And I needed to dive in and find out, what makes Sharona Sharona.
Yep.
What makes my, and it's interesting because on this journey, and it takes time. And again, giving ourselves permission to take the time to process. And I think we forget that life is not, this morning I was listening to somebody and, talking about, I was working out with one of my tapes, and on it, she says, you're not tired. You're in a machine. I go, no, I'm not a machine. I'm a human being. I'm a human being, and today my midlife body has decided that there's some crazy little twitching happen where nothing twitched before. Right? But I'm going to go forward with my exercise and my dancing, and I was and then I got into writing my blog, and I realized that for a long time I had a fear of writing because I don't write in detail. I don't write, I watch other people write, and they write in like really nice detail. I don't write in detail. That's why I decided haikus and emails are my favorite things in the world to use, because I can say what I need to say in 575. I don't need all the other information. I don't, so I had to give myself permission to write the way I write. And I'm finding that I like writing, and I like doing that. But that took time and the willingness to explore.
Yeah.
And so in planning, it's the same thing. As I plan and organize, as others plan and organize, sometimes it's an experiment to see what's going to work. So maybe, I think what you said at the beginning, you like writing on paper. Okay, so I always have paper in front of me, but I write in doodles. Everything is, it looks like a collage, because I write, that's how my brain works. It's, and somehow doodling it out helps me work it. But some people, but I always have things on online. So I have technology, I have things on paper, I have Post-its. So find things that work for you, and sometimes it takes a little exploring. It's like when I realized that there are two heavy people who are very organized in things and papers. I live in piles. I like piles. I try to get organized. I would buy all the little accoutrements to organize, and it was very pretty. But I never used it because I like piles. So giving yourself permission to organize and plan that works for you and your way of being.
Yeah, I love it. I think the core message that we're sharing here is find out who you are and plan according to who you are in your style, and to make sure that you have your priorities, at least trying to decide what your priorities are. And for me, I think, it's important to have no more than 3, maximum 5 priorities. And 5 is, I think, over the top. I would say 3 priorities, because if you have too many priorities, then it's not a priority anymore. right?
Right.
Then it's a mishmash of a whole bunch of stuff you want to do with no priorities. So think, in terms of priorities, you have number one priority, a number two priority, and then a number three priority, and that should be it. No more than that. Because then you won't be able to get to them. And then when you can't get to them, then you'll feel disappointed. You'll feel like a failure. You feel like you've not accomplished anything. And then dramatization, catastrophizing gets in. And then it's an all or nothing type of attitude, which won't work, right? And they see that a lot sometimes in relationships. Stepmoms will say, it never works. And I'm sure that's not true. I don't think it ever is true that it's never or always. And those are two of the words I try very carefully to use sparingly, because nothing is always or never. There's always a nuance. So, think in terms of, what is possible, and see yourself achieving those priorities or those goals or whatever you want to have. I think a lot of times it's in our heads. It starts here. If you believe you can do it, you'll do it. If you think you can't, you won't, right? It's all a matter of what you believe you can do. And so, and then find how to motivate you and light that flame inside you to make it happen. We've shared a lot of great ideas and suggestions. I mean, there's take the time to re-listen to this recording with a pen and paper or your mobile device or whatever, you type it in, and then take notes as you're re-listening to this video. And take the time to jot down notes and brainstorm as you're re-listening to find out what you can do to improve on your life.
Yes, I agree. And the other thing is to realize everything takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't, well, sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't happen overnight. So whatever your priority is, it's going to take more time than you think it's going to. That's why chunking down the priorities to doing 1 to 5 things for each priority every day will get you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
And scheduling that in however you're going to schedule that in.
Yeah.
So I think that's, yes, good. Yes. And I agree. There's a lot of information here. Take the, re-listen, or if you're, and as you're listening, things will start popping in your head. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I know. That's what I like to do, or something. So again, me time.
Yes, exactly. Great. Well, this was a great episode, Sharona. I loved our talk. I loved what we shared. I think there's a lot of great advice and suggestions, and I hope that our listeners are going to, share this. Give us your comments. Let us know what you think. Comment in that video below or email us. If you're a stepmom or know of a stepmom and you're looking for support and help in deciding how to take care of yourself, prioritize, planning your own, year, month, week, and are looking for someone to help you with those decisions, I'd love to help you. I've been a stepmom for 25 years. I'm going on 26 now. And, I think it's really important to take the time to figure out what it is you want. I know that's worked for myself, it's worked for my clients, and it's worked for a lot of people. So if you want help and you're interested in learning more and how I can support you, just reach out to me at Claudette@stepmomcoach.com.
Great. Thanks, Claudette. And I you know what? Claudette is an awesome stepmom coach. So, she really is very passionate about helping stepmoms be strong in who they are, so that they can be supportive of the family. But it starts with, her helping the stepmom. And I too am, I love helping midlife women who are asking those questions, who am I? What do I want? And where do I want to go next? You know, and and I find that a lot of times there's this uh thought process is, I've lived this many years. Why am I struggling so within my own life? Why do I feel frustrated? Why do I feel uncertain, or sometimes even confused and lost? So I really have a deep appreciation, and I really do enjoy supporting midlife women who are struggling with change, to really connect back to what's important to them now, where they really want, what is it that's going to give their life meaning now, and what's going to support them as they continue on their journey with enthusiasm and joy and freedom. So you can, again, leave comments below if about what you've learned today on the video, or you can reach me at Sharona at dancingwithchange2thrive.com. Claudette's website is the Stepmom Coach. Oh, no, there's no it's stepmomcoach.com. I'm also on Google Plus, Facebook. So, you're not alone out there, stepmoms and midlife women. You got support here, and let me know how I can help you and support you and guide you through. Okay, so thank you all thank you, everybody. Thank you, Claudette, because this was so.
I love this.
I love this too. This makes my heart sing with joy. So anyway, we're going to, our intention, by the way, to have conversations with Sharona and Claudette happen weekly about this time. So, but we hopefully will get more people viewing, so that way we can actually have a live audience. And maybe do some questions and answering. Who knows? It could get really wacky. Anyway, everybody, have a good day. Claudette, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Sharona. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.